Aloha everyone, welcome to our Energy, Economic Development and Tourism Committee. It's 3 o'clock or shortly thereafter on February 8th. We're in conference room 224 and have to take care of some housekeeping announcements. This is being streamed live on YouTube, and if you're really bored after midnight, you can watch this as many times as you want. And in the unlikely event that we have any kind of technical difficulties, life vests are needed, airbags get deployed, we will continue this meeting on Wednesday at 3 o'clock in case for some reason there's a technical glitch and we have to reconvene at that time. And that is all for the flight announcements. And so we're going to get into our hearing on Senate Bill 850. And this is regarding broadband infrastructure for rural communities. First on our testifiers list is Bert Lam from DBET.
Aloha Chair, aloha Vice Chair, members of the committee. My name is Bert Lam. I'm the Strategy Officer for Broadband here in DBET, Department of Business, Economic Development and Tourism. And DBET stands on its written testimony and provides comments, and I'm happy to answer any questions if there are any from the members. Thank you.
Thank you, Bert. You look like you're from the broadcast center from the Super Bowl back there.
You're right.
We have Giovanni Dela Cruz from DLIR, Office of Community Services, has submitted testimony support. Dr. Kishimoto, Superintendent for DOE, or anyone from her office?
Yes, hi, this is Christine Shaw. I'm with the Office of Information Technology Services in the Department of Education. The department stands on its written testimony and support. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine. Lisa Kim from DCCA has submitted commentary. Cheryl Park from OIP has submitted commentary. Michael Formby from the City and County has submitted supportive testimony. Michael Victorino from Maui, the mayor, has submitted testimony support. Lee Lord from the county of the Hawai'i Island he's the acting mayor, has submitted testimony support. Eric Abe from the Hawaii Primary Care Association, also in support. And we have 4 individuals all in support of this measure. Members, anyone wishing to ask questions of either Christine from DOE or Bert from DBET? No? Okay, great job, everyone. We're going to move on to our next bill, that is Senate Bill 935. This is regarding aerospace. First on our testifiers list, we have Chung Chang from DBET.
Thank you, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. My name is Chung Chang. I'm the Deputy Director for DBET. Department stands on its written testimony, providing comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Chung. And Len Higashi, Acting Director for HTDC.
Thank you, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee, Len Higashi, HTDC. We stand on our written comments available for questions. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Len. And we have Cheryl B. has submitted testimony in opposition. Members, any questions of Mr. Chang or Mr. Higashi? No? Wow, we are moving at the pace of broadband. Okay, right along. Senate Bill 916, this is regarding the Hawaii Tourism Authority. First on our testifiers list is John DeFries, the CEO of HTA.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and aloha Vice Chair and members of the committee. HTA stands by its testimony of support. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. DeFries. Monty McComber, from the Royal Hawaiian Center has submitted testimony support. Tom Yamachika from the Tax Foundation.
Hi, Senator. Hi, Tom Yamachika is not present.
Okay, Tom is elsewhere, but he has submitted testimony or commentary, members. And we have Cheryl B. has submitted commentary, and Aaron Sala from the Royal Hawaiian Center has submitted testimony in support. Members, any questions for Mr. DeFries? No? Oh my gosh, these are all such solid bills. Okay, let's move on to the next solid bill. That is Senate Bill 950 for the Hawaii Tourism Authority. Again, Mr. John DeFries.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. HTA stands by its testimony offering comments on this bill and await any questions.
Fantastic. Thank you, Mr. DeFries. And that is the only testifier we have on 950. Members, any questions for Mr. DeFries? Okay, and then, okay, we go, now we go into Senate Bill 22. So members, we are now moving on to our 305 agenda.
I'm sorry, you did 938 and 950, right?
Yep. Did you want, ask Mr.
Second.
It's okay, you gotta keep up, Gail. We're moving at the speed of business in this community, not community. Trying to get the community moving at the speed of business. Okay, members, we're on our 305 agenda. This is for Senate Bill 225 relating to infrastructure improvement districts. For our testifiers, do I have any? Do I have a testifiers list for 225? Thank you. Sorry, everyone. For Senate Bill 225, this is regarding the Office of Planning. And we have Rodney Funakoshi from the Office of Planning. Mr. Funakoshi.
Hello, Chair and members. Rodney Funakoshi from the State Office of Planning. OP stands on its written testimony in support of the measure. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Funakoshi. And we have Francis Kino from HHFDC.
Good afternoon, Chair Wakai, members of the committee. My name is Francis Kino. I'm the Deputy Director for HHFDC. Our Executive Director, Denise Iseri Matsubara, sends her regrets. She has a conflict, otherwise she would be here presenting this testimony. With regards to Senate Bill 225, HHFDC strongly supports this bill. Specifically, we support the concept of being allowed to assess our costs against the TOD projects. We noticed that this bill was introduced by Senator Donovan Dela Cruz, and we appreciate his concerns. We ask that this committee pass out this bill without any substantive amendments and refer this bill to the Ways and Means Committee. Thank you for the opportunity to provide our testimony on this measure.
Great. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Kino. Members, any questions for Mr. Funakoshi or Mr. Kino on this measure? No? Oh, you did a great job, guys. Okay, we're going to move on to our, is it?
It's decision-making for
Okay, and then, okay, so we're going to go into a recess and talk story about all the bills we just heard, as well as talk about Senate Bill 80. Brief recess. Oh, thank you, everyone, for your patience. The committee had a very robust and lively discussion in our little recess room, and now we're back in the big room to discuss our decision-making on a number of agendas. For our first bill, Senate Bill 850, relating to broadband infrastructure for rural communities, we're going to have two substantive changes to this measure. Taking into account DCCA's suggested amendments, we're on page 6, lines 6 and 7. We're going to change administrator of cable television to the director. DCCA rather have the director be involved rather than the cable administrator. Also take OIP, Office of Information Practices, suggested amendments, putting some sunshine into this body. Right now there's an exemption, so we're going to take out the sunshine exemption and also provide for technical non-substantive amendments. Members, any discussion? If not, Senator Revere, I vote yes.
Okay, Committee on Energy, Economic Development, and Tourism is voting on SB 850. Chair's recommendations passed with amendments. Chair votes aye. Vice Chair Misalucha?
Aye.
Aye. Senator Lee?
Aye.
I vote aye. Senator Favela?
Aye.
Chair, your measure is adopted.
Thank you, members. We're on to Senate Bill 935 relating to aerospace. Aerospace, unfortunately, in the DBED budget is being defunded, so this is an effort to keep them alive. I think Hawaii should and can be global leaders in aerospace, and don't want to give up on them as of yet. So I'm going to make a few substantive amendments to this bill and say that right now the bill has it where the governor picks the director of OAT, and we're going to change that so that the Aerospace Advisory Committee is the entity that will pick the director of this new entity. We're going to reduce the advisory committee from the current 13 members outlined in the bill down to 9 members. So on page 5, lines 1 through 13, we're going to replace the 4 members with background in aerospace. 2 of them are going to be nominated by the Speaker, and 2 of them will be nominated by the Senate President. That will reduce 2 members. And then we're also going to take away 2 members from the University of Hawaii. Right now, the bill has it where there's 3 members from UH. There's UH Manoa, UH Hilo, and the community colleges. We're just going to change it down to 1 member appointed by someone involved in the University of Hawaii system. So that's how we're going to get to 9 members. So those are the substantive changes to Senate Bill 935. Members, any discussion? If not, Senator Revere, I vote yes.
Senate Bill 935, Chair's recommendation passed with amendments. He votes aye. Vice Chair Misalucha.
Aye.
Senator Lee.
Aye.
I vote aye. Senator Favela.
Aye.
Okay, adopted.
Thank you. We're now on Senate Bill 916 relating to taxation. This is for the future home of the Hawaiian Center for Music and Dance. And right now, you might know that there's $1 million allocated to this effort and no specified place where it should be. And I was kind of excited to see that the Royal Hawaiian Center wants to step up and wants to actually pay and finance much of this particular project. But I don't want to be too prescriptive to say that that's exactly where it should be. So I'm going to just change and fill in the blank and say that any future music and dance museum will be in Waikiki. Any discussion? If not, Senator Revere, I vote yes.
Chair votes aye. Vice Chair Misalucha.
Aye.
Senator Lee.
Aye.
I vote aye. Senator Favela.
Aye.
Adopted.
Great. We're now on Senate Bill 938 relating to tourism. This is where the HTA has a $5 million special fund in response to emergencies, and this bill clearly outlines that it has to be related to that. You can't have the $5 million go into general operations because the governor cuts off your TAT. So this will make it clear to them that any dollars spent out of this could be used for, things like the safe travels when they had to stand that up quickly when the pandemic hit, or when people were stranded in Honolulu due to rainstorms and HTA had to go provide bus service. Those I think we all feel should be an appropriate use of emergency funds, but not to go fund general operations and salaries, which is something that the entity contemplated this past year. So my recommendation is to pass this measure as is. Any discussion? If not, Senator Revere, I vote yes.
Chair votes aye. Senator Misalucha.
Aye.
Senator Lee.
Aye.
I vote aye. Senator Favela.
Aye.
Adopted.
Okay, thank you, members. We're on to Senate Bill 950 relating to the Hawaii Tourism Authority. All of us were with HTA in December where we got a budget briefing, and you may have recalled that there's a cap on HTA's expenditures at 3.5% of their currently $79 million. And that was an effort by lawmakers to make sure that a bulk, 96.5% of the monies that we appropriate actually go to contracting out, for marketing, obviously, cultural enrichment, natural resource preservation, community engagement, all of that kind of stuff. But we saw that HTA has created different little buckets for their admin costs. Some of it, they call it governance, and they're calling it by a different name. So this is to make it clear that anything operationally, anything involving personnel costs are going to be lumped in under this 3.5%, and no more gaming the system, so to speak, with some accounting descriptions that are trying to get away from this legislative mandate. So my recommendation is to pass this measure as is. Members, any discussion? If not, Senator Revere, I vote yes.
Chair votes aye. Vice Chair Misalucha.
Aye.
Senator Lee.
Aye.
I vote aye. Senator Favela.
Aye.
Adopted.
Thank you, members. We're almost there. Senate Bill 225 is relating to infrastructure improvement districts. As we heard today, everyone provided supportive testimony, but essentially this bill will help us allow to get housing along the rail transit line a lot easier, and make it easier for them to attract funding for housing development along the rail line. So my recommendation to the members is to pass this measure as is. Any discussion? If not, Senator Revere, I vote yes.
Chair votes aye. Vice Chair Misalucha.
Aye.
Senator Lee.
Aye.
I vote aye. Senator Favela.
Aye.
Adopted.
Okay, thank you. Members, we're on the last bill. This is a short form bill, Senate Bill 880, relating to the economy. And I think I forwarded you the proposed SD1, but essentially, this is a way for us to provide a little bit of an impediment for those who are outside of Hawaii to purchase housing here. As we know, when you purchase a house, you have fees that come with that in addition to the cost of the house, Bureau of Conveyances fees, land court fees. So what we're going to do is we're going to increase all of those initial fees tenfold for you if you're an outside of Hawaii purchaser. So if you're not domiciled in Hawaii, you're going to pay a heck of a lot more to go buy a house in Hawaii to hopefully discourage you from using it as just an investment property, Airbnb, or some other thing where you're not actually living in the home. So this is kind of our way to provide some level of, I don't want to say impediment, but a little bit of financial hurt, so to speak, for the people who are taking housing away from local folks. So today we're just voting on the short form, and then at a time in the next week, we'll actually vote on the language of the bill. So I'm asking if you could just give us the opportunity to move this bill out in the next few days with. Oh, okay, sorry, I'm just going off script. I have to actually read this. So bear with me. This is a short form bill for the Bureau of Conveyances to amend its rules to establish a new fee schedule for land court and regular system fees. We're going to pass the bill with amendments and recommit it back to EET. The amendments are to insert the contents of the proposed draft that I briefly mentioned, and further amendments to add language to the bill preamble to clarify the purposes of this measure. So today you're just giving me the opportunity to have this vehicle, and then next week I'll dump the guts of the bill and language into Senate Bill 80. So I would recommend that we pass this measure with amendments and recommit it back to EET. Yes. Recommit this measure and give it back to myself. That is so weird. Okay, but yes, so we're going to recommit it and then give it back to me so I can make it even more dandy than it is today. Any discussion? If not, Senator Revere, I vote yes.
Chair votes aye. Vice Chair Misalucha.
Aye.
Senator Lee.
Aye.
I vote aye. Senator Favela.
Aye.
Okay, adopted.
Fantastic. Thank you, members. We're adjourned.